Our next speaker, Gina Lazenby, is an author and a speaker. In a previous life, she was an expert, I guess she still is an expert, but she was an author and wrote books on Feng Shui. And that was a previous life. Nowadays, she's working on something else, and she's going to talk to you about that. She's truly a global nomad. She spends her time in London, in Yorkshire, in San Francisco, in Vancouver, in Sydney, and occasionally in Bali on her way from one of those places to another one. And for the last 10 years, she's been working on women empowerment and leadership. And tonight, her topic is Magical Leadership, the Mary Poppins Factor. Gina Lazenby.
Good evening, my name is Gina Lazenby and thank you for making me welcome. Tonight I'm going to talk about a new kind of leadership. And the leadership we have in the world right now doesn't seem to work. In fact, it probably is the source of all the problems in the world. So what I want to explore is a better, wiser leadership. See what that looks like. My second slide's up. The Athena Doctrine is a huge new body of research. The book is called How Women Will Rule the Future. And this was a study of 64,000 people in 13 countries in the world. And 2/3 of those people felt that men who think like women will make a better world. Now, what they did was they had, in this research, they looked at the optimum qualities of leadership that people are looking for. 32,000 people said these traits, having patience, being empathetic, collaborative, intuitive, selfless, flexible, reasonable, and plans for the future are exactly what we need for leaders of the future. The other 32,000 people looked at traits and assigned them a feminine or masculine. And all of these traits, if you can see on this slide on the top right-hand side, all of these new leadership traits are all feminine. That's exactly what we're looking for in our new leadership. The ones on the left are the old paradigm. This is something else that's going to support the shift is Dr. Rian Eisler's work, where we're looking at the way society is organized, moving from, on the left, this hierarchy domination culture, moving to partnership, and where the power is in the relationships, not at the top of the structure. Women are seen as wiser risk takers. Research of hedge funds over a period of 9 years have shown that those run by women outperform those run by men. Boards of very large companies that have women on them outperform all male boards by 26%. Do you want to speak to the man in charge or the woman who knows what's happening? It's interesting that our gender is such a joke. But it's clear that when we women are in charge or present at the top when key decision making is made, we do make a positive impact. So I want to look further about why that is, what makes us different. Dr. Daniel Amen has looked at 45,000 brain scans, and he said the brain activity in women is radically different in their brains. In fact, there's radical more activity in 85% of the areas of the brain. He also says that women have dramatically enhanced capacity built into our brains for 5 key aspects. He says women are actually wired for leadership. And these 5 leadership traits that we have in our brains are empathy, collaboration, intuition, self-control, and appropriate worry. Appropriate. Now, at this point, it's probably worth pointing out to the men that 2 things, don't worry, because research into brains shows that brains are very flexible and plastic and can adapt. So if you're not wired with the traits that are needed, you can develop them. And secondly, it's not really about the women taking over the world. It's finding a way that we can collaborate together to make things work. Now, there's some incredible things happening around the world as I travel. As Peter said, I find women have initiated and lead many very interesting projects, and I've been meeting them in women's gatherings and circles that I've created in communities around the world. And I'm really inspired. Many of these women have left the corporate and political space and reinvented themselves. And this is my reinvention story. 1990, very successful, but really using my masculine drive, my masculine qualities for success, burnout. So in the last 20 years, I've really deeply been connecting with my feminine energy, feminine wisdom, and integrating that so I work in a very different way. Now, there's a lot happening in the enterprise space, but where women are creating change, but out in the political world and in corporations, look at this. In the UK, of the top 100 countries, companies, women CEOs, only one. So we're less than 10% in politics and government, in leadership. So what are we going to do to elevate women and feminine qualities in business, government and culture? I've been looking around for new role models. And I found Mary Poppins. And interestingly, she's unusual because in a movie, very few females are in a role that's not relative or in support of a man. Now, the film came out 50 years ago, and when I watched it recently, I was really inspired. She's kind, she's loving, she's patient, she's sweet, she's super organized, she's magical, and she brings the fun back into work. She enables massive transformation to take place in a family. And what's interesting is a new movie is coming out soon, and Mary Poppins didn't actually come to save the children. She came to save Mr. Banks, the father. He was disconnected from his family, and what Mary Poppins did with her magic was enable him to reconnect with his family, bring the fun back into his life, and reclaim his life. So Mary Poppins gives us a very interesting example of feminine power. Now we really need to step up, reconnect with our feminine wisdom, our feminine leadership, our feminine magic. And this is most powerfully done by connecting in women's circles and communities, because we see so much value in each other that we don't see in ourselves. So guys, how can you support us in bringing feminine traits to the world? By making space for us. As we understand our power more, make space for us, not just as women, but for us to bring our feminine qualities in as well, because that is what's going to change the culture of the world. Now, circles are very underutilized in society, and I highly recommend that men also meet in circles. I recommend that you talk and discuss and work out what this new masculine energy is that's coming onto the planet, because that's going to be easier for us to collaborate. And although it's going to take all of us to collaborate to create the shift that's needed in the world, it's an empowered feminine energy and empowered feminine leadership that's going to bring the magic to the world that will transform the world's family. Now, if anything I've said has inspired you this evening, and any woman wants to join, I'm doing a women's circle with JP in Minu on Saturday. I'd love to see you, and I thank you so much for listening to me this evening.